All right, so clearly this video is meant to be because I went to effects replay, and as soon as I get to effects replay, the thing that I want to show you in this video, the pattern that I want to point out that happens all the time, I know it happens all the time, but the fact that it's right here at a random point in time is pretty wild. So we're going to dive into this thing that I think is really important for you to learn, and I think it'll help your trading. And in fact, a lot of my members inside of my private trading group have learned this pattern. They see me trade it almost daily and point it out almost daily. So let me just show you guys something real quick before we dive into the charts. This is my live trading group. I have over 1,000 members. And you can come into this group and trade live with me Monday through Friday. Literally Monday through Friday, I trade the New York session open. And what's cool about this, you not only get all the training, right now it's at a discounted price, by the way, for a limited time, but you can also just join me every single day to trade live with me. I even have a signals group in here that I've been calling out for 18 months now. I've been trading live, and I've just started this signals group a few weeks back. We're up 9.65% in here. Everything is real time. Everything is authentic. There's no editing, none of that stuff that you hear. But anyways, I just wanted to point that out, guys. If you want to have a private mentorship style of training, then come into the group. It's all hands-on. I think you'll learn a lot. And listen, by the way, I just want to make this very clear. I started this group without any YouTube channel at all. Okay, I was featured on a few other people's channels, and we grew this extremely fast. And this is a very active group. We have tons of wins in this community. I mean, literally like 383 pages of wins. And with inside the wins, there's like, take for instance, this is a post that we make for our TMT games. There's probably, I don't even know how many comments are here, 115 wins just in one post. So there are a ton of wins. We are literally crushing it every single day. We crush it. Whether we lose or we win, we crush it because we're always learning. But we win more than we lose. So anyways, if you want to trade live with me daily, come in and check it out. Now let's dive into this pattern that I think is incredibly important for you to learn. Okay. So when I was learning trading, one of the things that I thought that I would, discover through somehow watching hours of videos was a secret pattern. And if I knew this pattern, then I could take advantage of it. Well, what if I told you that there is a pattern? It's not very secret, but there is a pattern. It happens over and over. And I want to show you in today's video the power of channels. Okay, so here, right on the chart, as soon as I opened up FX Replay, it was here. Let me show you what I'm looking at. Okay, this is a rising channel. Okay, so this is a rising channel. I'm gonna type this out for us. Okay, rising channel. Okay, and in a rising channel, you typically want to look for a break of what we call a dynamic trend line. Okay, so this is our dynamic trend line. A static trend line is something that's more like support and resistance. It goes horizontal. Okay, static would be like, it's not very obvious anywhere here, but static support and resistance is just horizontal. I'll just draw this up here. This here, some type of horizontal, static support and resistance. Dynamic support and resistance is where you have what's called trend lines, right? And I'm not a big trend line type of guy. I just want to be very clear. I don't really trade with a whole lot of trend lines on my chart. But when I see a channel, I'm always keen to just be on the lookout for price to break this. And in this case, on those rising channels, what we want to look for are dips in the downward direction. So this breakdown is not surprising. And the reason why this happens, the main reason why, is because when you have a trend line, you're building what's called trend line liquidity. Okay, all these levels here, and you can just point out the most obvious swing levels basically, are where traders are putting their stop losses, getting in on the move up, right? So the most obvious places, this is where traders are putting their stops. So will this continue down? Well, that's neither here nor there. We are in a downtrend on a 4-hour chart on the right, so probably it will. And I'll get into wick tests in future videos because we pulled back right here. This candle pulled back and wick tested. So I do believe that this is going to be going down because we have no bottom wick on this candle either. So that's another thing we can get into. But for this video, I want you to, now what do you do in this case? I want you to learn this channel type of play, because if you can get in and how to get in and learn it, then you can at least have some advantage, or what we consider like an edge in trading with this particular pattern. Okay, so I'm gonna just play the chart out a little bit. Let's see what happens here. Just curious. I don't even care about the time. It's later in the afternoon, New York time. It's an afternoon session. So I just, again, randomly chose a spot here in FX replay. And you can see what happened on this 4 hour. You see what happened? It had no bottom wick. Now it went down. It created the bottom wick. Why do I say that? Well, I guess we'll go into it just a tiny bit. Every candle you pretty much see on the right has a bottom and a top wick, correct? Every single one, for the most part, right? You can see up here, this has no top wick. Okay, when a candle does not have a top wick or a bottom wick, usually it will either A, create the top or bottom wick, or in the future, go back to that area and create the top or the bottom wick of that candle. So typically, when you see a candle not having a bottom wick, especially on a 4 hour chart here, typically price will go down and create it. Okay, once it's created, then you can really be looking for that reversal. And here you can see that, and that's because this is high time frame liquidity, right? So when price is dipping beneath this previous range, then it's grabbing liquidity. But look at this sweep. See how it swept all of these levels pretty cleanly, right? So you could have caught that move down. I'll show you how to get in just a second. You want to stay with me here, because there's a lot of things in this video I'm going to sort of just talk about, I think are important, that have to do with this trend line liquidity idea. So 230 comes around. We'll see some volume here. Maybe we dip further. Okay, price wants to dip a little bit further. Yeah, so that's really nice. Now look what's happening on this 1 minute time frame. Now we're not able to take this trade because it's too late in the day. I'm going to go the next day, okay? But we're building up trendline liquidity in the opposite way. But I want to find really clean setups. So let's just move forward and find some really clean setups. Notice I'm doing this on the 1 minute time frame over here, but I'm looking at the 4 hour and how candles are formed, because if I can get a clue with what price is potentially going to do based on the candle formation, then this will be an added benefit. Okay, so check this out. On the 1 minute time frame, we're developing the channel. Once again, we're looking like we're developing this channel. Now this is a little bit of pre-market, right? So market is about to open and fly. Not too much liquidity down here, but it's still liquidity. Look, there's liquidity here at the swing level and down here. Maybe it's easier if I put a little dot like this, okay? A little bit easier to see, maybe. Okay, so price coming down just a little bit here. It's about to open, so we're gonna see a lot of volume. There's the volume, okay? And so we built some trend line liquidity down below, and price is moving up. Lots of volume here. We're just gonna let the market kind of shake it out. Okay, so you see what happens is that price dips once again, grabs that trend line liquidity. So that channel gets broken a little bit to the upside. Don't worry if it breaks up. If it's a rising channel, we're really looking for price to break going down. And you can see this formation right here of what a lot of breakout traders call the break and retest, okay? Where you're breaking this channel, you're coming and retesting what we would consider, if you watch my videos, my last video, I'll put it up here. You can watch that video. Sorry, you're right here. My last video was talking about a little bit of structure in there too. You can learn what a shelf is and really start learning how price reacts off these areas. If this is going to continue the downtrend, then what should we expect here, right? We should expect the bounce off the shelf and a lower low to be made. So let's see what happens. And there it is. So there you go. That's just simple structure 101. So how do you get in on these breaks? Because a lot of times price doesn't come back. A lot of times it'll just break and it'll go grab that trend line liquidity. And once it does, like right down here, once it's fulfilled its destiny, honestly, price can just simply reverse, right? It can continue in the opposite direction. So what we want to grab is that initial move, that initial break, grabbing this liquidity down below. So I'm going to show you how to get in a little bit. We're going to go through a few more scenarios so we can clearly see these first. Play this out just a little bit faster. And yeah, so we want to see clear channels. Sometimes it just, they do happen all the time, but you have to be patient. You have to let these form and not be too aggressive. I was going to say it was pretty close. We might be building one here. We'll see. Nope. Okay, so here we can see that potentially we're building one to go up. Let's see if this makes any sense. Okay, I'm gonna draw it out and see what I kind of am feeling right here, that this might be it's a little, and it doesn't have to be a clean channel. It can be a what they call a cone, a widening cone. So it could be that as well. But I like the clean trend line, the clean channel. Those are always better. In my opinion, they just play out a little bit nicer. So let's see. So we have some liquidity building above. I'm looking at that 4 hour on the right, just kind of a nice little downtrend. And you can see that this previous 4 hour came down, swept underneath this previous 4 hour as well. So we got a little bit of liquidity there on the higher time frame. And let's check the time. Okay, always important to check the time. And make sure, I'm gonna switch over here because I keep looking over here at this camera. All right, so check the time because I don't want to trade if the market is about to close, right? All right, let's see here. So, and as market kind of gives you different angles with this trend line, you just want to move it. That's fine as long as it's still intact for the most part. And we want to see some volume. And here, because you know, we have structure, we might as well look for a break of structure. So this is a great thing to look for if you're going to get into a swing trade, or I should say a trade that is, you know, swinging in the opposite direction, not like a long-term hold trade that people say a swing trade, but like here you see the volume. It's a clear break. Now, what you can do when you enter this position is you can use the one strat for life model. And again, if you want to learn that, come into the trading group. But look, this one strat for life model is very simple. Your TP targets are going to be your liquidity inside liquidity zones up above. And there's plenty on the 1 minute. There's plenty. Your first one is pretty close. Actually, first one is like right here. So maybe you start managing this trade at that level. So let's go ahead and get in. So it's okay. You don't need to wait for the retest. Just make sure your stop loss right here is in a comfortable position. I preach to people, man, like if it feels tight, just go down here. Just make sure you're at a 1-to-1 at least and give yourself some room to manage the damn trade, because so many people will teach you need so many R's every trade. You need lots of R's. No, you need to just win. That's what needs to happen. You don't need to worry about all the R's. So I'm going to get into this trade right here. We'll get that off the board. And let's see if we can have any room to possibly manage the trade. And look, what should price do? Okay, if it's going to do this sweep, what should it do? It should immediately go up, correct? It should immediately go up. Shouldn't really retest much. So how can I limit my risk or make this what's called a cheap trade? Well, if you don't know about fair value gaps, they're going to help you here. Here it is. Here's the fair value gap right here underneath price. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this breaker. This is a breaker. Actually, I'll leave it up there. But price is dipping in this fair value gap. If we see an inversion, meaning price doesn't respect this gap, it doesn't bounce from this area right here and go back up and create a higher high, most likely, it is more likely that we're most likely testing the lows. And if we test the lows, we might just continue lower because guess what? We're in a downtrend on the higher time frame, okay? So that idea I can use as this whole idea gets invalidated if this does that. So there you go. See that inversion right there? So I'm not going to mess with this. I would actually just close this trade and wait for the next setup. So I'm showing you guys correct money management. And that is how I would look at this. And very simply said, I'm not going to necessarily, you know, it's just an idea that doesn't pan out. That's it. You're going to lose trades, guys. Like, get over it, you know? So let's go and keep testing this model because I trade it all the time. And listen, I want to tell you something else. It's also in conjunction or paired with, okay, so look, let me put that other line back on the board. I should have left these. It doesn't mean that price won't go back up, okay, and take out the trend line liquidity that we clearly see, right? It just means that, look, my stop, or excuse me, not my stop was safe. My idea of price potentially breaking down didn't pan out. It actually broke right here. And so being that we still have these liquidity targets over here, and I'm not saying you leave them up forever, but in context, in relative to this context of time, right, they're still pretty relevant, right? We're not like hours later or something. This is not that much later. So they're still relevant. And if I can see a clear break, like something like this, where I get some volume, I get another break of structure right here, right, to the upside. not a change of character. I'm just saying a break of structure. We already changed character. So just what does this mean? Well, this means that most likely price is going to go take out the liquidity that I previously thought, so I can get back in the trade. Not a big deal, right? And I can maybe protect myself with this breaker in mind. Price should not potentially price goes all the way up, but price should not dip too far down if it's going to continue up. I'm going off of likelihood. When I say these things, guys, I said it should not, when I say that kind of stuff, just note it's all context based. It shouldn't in theory, right, where you're trying to play the odds. Will it? I don't know. So here I got a 1% risk structure to this account size, no big deal. And if we can make it all the way to the the highs here, what I would consider our external structure on this 1 minute, then guess what? I've taken home, I don't even know what that was because I deleted it, but a good profit, right? Because that first one was negative $41. Now look, now we're up $87. So whenever I'm down and now I'm up in a trade and I'm more than double of what I lost, well, then I'd just be dumb not to take some off the table and make up for what I lost and then potentially let this run safely with a break-even stop. This is called correct money management. A lot of people don't talk about that. So now we're pushing. There's a lot of volume. This is nice. We could potentially keep going up. There's still liquidity above us, but we protected ourselves with our break-even stop. So it is what it is, and we're going to let that ride. We got to let that ride. Okay, now what's interesting here is we grab a little liquidity and look at what we're forming, right? So you instantly can see this start to develop. And I'm not saying that this is it, but I can definitely see it. Let's see if we can get a break above there. There we go. Okay, so price moving up. Now what we can do, we see the shelf above us. So let me point out the shelf. This is our shelf, right? So price broke. It had a leg up. What is it retesting here? This is a shelf. So now that it's retested that shelf and created another leg higher, we can take our trailing stop and put it at that level. And that is how you correctly trail stop. Okay, moving up, we have another shelf. Let me point it out. The shelf is our swing right here. Basically our break of structure. All right, that's going to be our shelf. Price sort of came back, tested with this second candle right there. But it should not really break that shelf level as well. So we can actually trail stop a little tighter. And this is a pretty tight stop. I'm not going to lie. Might get stopped out here, but we're in good profits. So that's how you do it. All right. So at the end of the day, that would have been opening up. I would have probably closed that right a little bit sooner. But you can see that now the account is up $85. And so all that we're doing is we're waiting for this pattern to show. And I really like seeing this pattern after we have a liquidity sweep of higher time frame. So yes, you can just use this pattern and just look at the pattern, okay? But I think it's stronger if you see the liquidity sweep on a higher time frame. Take, for instance, this 4-hour candle right here sweeping the previous 4-hour wick. That is high time frame liquidity. So let me go one more for you guys. I know, seeing this a couple times is just not enough. Once again, you want to see it over and over, join the community, and come trade live with me daily, guys. This is what we do. All right, and you can see from the bottom here, this is a little bit of static support. So this would be like your static support. But, when we talk about channels, okay, when we talk about channels, maybe you see something like this, right? Little weird. I like to see lower highs and sort of that knock on the door down here, but this is fine. So, we'll find some other ones and whatever, but this looks like a breakdown. And then look over here on the right. Like, did we grab liquidity? And the question is, did we take liquidity? Yes, we did. Now, what time of day is it? This is always, you got to ask yourself, guys, when are you trading, right? And so the time of day that it is pre-market. And that's always dangerous. But, if you wanted to take this trade, you just have to expect to be in and out, real fast before the market opens, because we probably just, go and disrespect everything. So here we go. Look at this, like 15-point move. Hey man, if you're trading a prop account, I mean, we have tons of people in my group that trade prop accounts and they use this. There's the retest. So retesting the shelf, pushing back down, and there's the sweep. And the sweep was over here. You know, I'm not marking all these out, but these are the liquidity levels. So we did see it. It's right there, and it happens over and over. So let's let the market open. Let's get some of this craziness out of the system. Let the market form something here, maybe. Because you don't always see it. It's not always something that's clear. Sometimes the market just does not. There's nothing there. You know, what can I say? It just is what it is. Okay, well, this has a flat top. You guys clearly see that, yeah? So nice little resistance point. What I like to see, if we're going to break that, I like to see higher lows, right? So I like to see a knock on the door multiple times. Hey, let me in, right? Let me in, let me in, let me in, let me in. And then down here, I really like to see higher low, right? And this didn't really do that, but that's okay. If we can get a nice break here. And then so what's the pattern? Well, the same thing, but the opposite of what we saw over here, right? Where we had this pattern like this. You can kind of see the same thing. And now this isn't necessarily a channel. I know I'm kind of deviating here, but anyways, should expect that break. There's your retest, all fractal, all on that 1 minute time frame, right? So if you're going to take the trade, make it safe. And you know, you can use your 4 hour if you don't have a liquidity level target over on the 1 minute. You go over to the 4 hour, you say, well, where's the liquidity sweep? It's right up there, right? So this is our target. Do I have time to manage this trade? Well, this is a 2.6. I could leave it where it's at, or I can just give a healthy stop here and basically allow myself a little bit more room. And so whether I'm wrong or right, it doesn't really matter. But now, do I have time to manage this trade? Yes. Are we in an uptrend here on this 4 hour? Well, almost. Actually, we got to break some structure up here to really be in an uptrend. But some would say maybe. We're definitely up on a 1 hour. So there's a lot of bullish momentum. Let's see what happens here. If I get any chance. Now, what should price not do? Price should not close below this shelf, because if we're going to break out, then we're going to break out. If we're not, we're going to probably retest the lows. Okay, so it respects that shelf and wants to come down and retest a few times before breaking a little bit higher. That's nice. Okay, so in a situation like this, where you know it's already retested these lows, you have another sort of area right here that I would consider our shelf. So price really should respect that. I can go ahead and set my break even stop a little early just to protect myself. It's always about protecting your capital, guys. Okay, it hits my stop, no worries. And you know, who knows, maybe price comes down to this level and then turns back up. Maybe it just fully reverses. Okay, well, that's my fault for having too early of a break even stop. It is what it is. But guess what? I feel good about that trade because I protected my capital, and my overall assessment of direction was correct. All right. And so I feel good about that. Whenever you end up being right, but let's just say, you know, you don't make any money on it, but the overall market goes in the direction that you thought, I think it's a win, and you should look at it like a win. Okay, so I'm gonna see if we can find this pattern once again and see if there's something clean that we can point out. Okay, a little bit of trend line here, but trend line liquidity, but not so clean. The market's about to open. Just got to let it sort of get its kinks out. Okay, I did skip to the next day pretty fast. Okay, so I'm looking for that high time frame liquidity grab over on the right. So now we grab the lows. And let's see here. Okay, not seeing a real clean channel just yet. It happens all the time, guys, but I got to tell you, you have to be patient, man. Sometimes it's an afternoon thing. Sometimes it's just not something that's going to happen during the day. Who knows? Like, I do see the channel here. We grab the lows. So we did grab lows right here. See this 4 hour? We grab the lows. When we grab lows, we're looking to go higher, typically, right? We're looking for that swing. We're looking to buy low, sell high. So if we grab the lows here, and I'm seeing a little bit of a channel here, so I can definitely connect the dots. I definitely see that there's obvious liquidity right here, right here, right here. And we'll go ahead and look at this channel looking somewhat like this. Okay, and look, cut the fat. It's okay. Use your imagination. It's not a science. But I see something like that. That makes a lot of sense to me. So if we can see some volume, and on this 4 hour chart, and look at the time. No, it's okay. The time isn't the greatest, but look at that volume. Look at the volume right there. Boom. That's what's up. That's what we want to see, guys. So retesting this is a high likelihood, but the whole point of this is to get in and don't miss the move to go grabbing more of that liquidity, going and grabbing that liquidity. So we'll go ahead and get in on the play here. Okay. And once again, guys, if you want to see this over and over and over, all you got to do is come in and trade live with me daily, man. It's a lot of fun. We have a good time. So I'm going to get in right here at this position. And I don't know why it didn't work with the stop loss. So I'm just going to create it real quick. I'm not sure what's going on. So let me put the stop loss down here. I think to have a healthy stop, you want something that you feel good about, but it's also one of those things where it's like you feel like, okay, you're giving yourself enough room, but you're also not, you're also not like giving too much room for price, because at that level, you're really at a place where you got to be careful of, price can reverse very quickly and stop you out. Come on, take profit. Let's go. Okay, what's going on? Oh, come on. Let me just get one on the board and then I can move it. Yeah, there we go. All right, so ultimate take profit up here. Okay, so let's play this out. Okay, so price retests this shelf. This is exactly, you could get in on the retest. This is part of the One Strategy for Life model, is retesting. We get in on these retests, but look, you see how this candle has no bottom wick. It's very suspect. I'm going to say, I believe the next candle will create the bottom wick and we'll see a little bit of a push up. Okay. And I'm not always right. I'm basically putting my neck on the line, guys, telling you what I think is going to happen, but we should respect that shelf. If price is going to be extremely bullish, we should respect that shelf. I hung on there just because, I could have just gotten out when stop losses hit, but I hung on there. When I look at this whole picture, when I look at the higher time frame getting swept, I'm still pretty confident that price could turn. I put my stop loss in a very safe area. I have a chance to manage this trade. We now have a nice clear shelf with good volume. And the time of day is getting into that reversal period. So this looks pretty good. Retest of the shelf right here. Price should respect that. Okay, if it's going to go up, it should respect it. And here we go. Next shelf levels up there. So we can go ahead and now raise our stop. And price is moving up. We can move now to this shelf and see if price goes all the way to TP here. Okay, this is the shelf that price should retest right here. Very light shelf, by the way, but should retest and then continue. So see if it does it, going and retesting again and building a little consolidation. Looks like it's going to pop up there. Yeah. Okay. So again, guys, I love this. This is what I do for a living. So if I didn't love it, I wouldn't do it for a living. Okay, guys, if you really want more, okay, if you want more and you feel like you're understanding this, but there's some things that you have questions on or whatever, I'm encouraging you and I'm inviting you to come in and give it a shot. Come trade live with me, see what it's like sitting next to me. Everything I do is in real time, and we use this pattern all the time. It's the rising channel, descending channel, which is this last one. I failed to give you the actual definition of it, but this is a descending channel, right? And so these are things that we can look for, but we wait. The key is you wait for right time, where volume is going to be in the market, and you wait for liquidity sweeps. And so, yeah, guys, I don't know what else to say other than I want to show you this more, and I do show this more, but you got to come in and try it for yourself. Yeah, man, I hope you guys have a good rest of your trading week. We got a fun week ahead, so I will see you on the charts. Bye, guys.